Welcome back to the lab. Friday, a little bit late. Should have had a video up for you on Thursday. Didn't happen. So, last time we were talking, camera driving skills today. Jeez. I was talking about this thing. We were mucking around with changing diff ratios and stuff. That's all pretty much taken care of. Waiting for some bits. We've got heaps of time. There's no stress there. Waiting for valve springs, I think, is the hold up there. Now, I can get those from Calford Cams in Christchurch. They're not horribly priced, about $600 for a set of valve springs. They're something, off the top of my head, maybe 215 US or something through another supplier. The issue is that supplier hasn't got any stock and they're going to make something. COVID's being a nuisance, so that could take a bit of time. No stress, carrying on with some other things. Speaking of things, there's two things there. Holden Barina with nothing inside, so it's going to get a race seat there. It's going to get some bars there. It's going to get a motor there or there, probably there. I'm probably going to put it over there. Not kidding, it's happening. Motor's over here somewhere. Motor, zing zing. Yeah, 4-cylinder, quite a lot of horsepower. Bike motor, I believe. It might be a Honda. Not sure. Haven't really. He did say. I've forgotten. It doesn't matter too much. Goes in the back of the car. We'll do chain drive off the sprocket there with a spool diff setup that we're going to make, and a starter motor to get reverse. So we can start on that soon. Look, there's even still got the throttle hanging off it. Hard case, isn't it? Something else I did. Some people might be interested. The new metal in the back there, and this little Starlet race car. Just finished that up this morning. Finished, using the term loosely. The owner's quite handy with his own hands, so he's going to polish it up from here. Obviously it needs a closing panel in here to stiffen the boot release and all that. Tie that into something. And it needs some, whatever we're going to call them, fences or fins or strakes or guide vanes or whatever underneath there to create a bit of a diffuser. So originally these cars, they have just a spare tyre well in the back here. There's remnants of that there. It was sort of chopped out when it came here. I chopped it out some more, as you do. Chopping's good, right? It's good fun. So, and the goal was just to try and create a little bit of something better at the back than what it had. It's a diffuser of sorts, right? But it's going to be better than what it had. It'll have some effect. Now, we haven't CFD'd it on a computer or anything like that, but the basics of it are, when we're lying there underneath the car, that is an angle that goes bigger as it goes towards the rear. It will do something. So he's pretty happy. We're going to do flat panel from here going forward. That's at a height that'll just allow that rear beam and the suspension to drop down full droop, and he should be able to sneak a flat panel from there underneath the fuel tank and everything, and as far forward as he wants really underneath the car. Get a little bit more grip in the back of the car for minimal extra weight really, so he's pretty happy with that. That, I've got to take the fuel tank out and all that sort of carry on. So a little bit of planning and then a lot of cutting. We've swapped vehicles around a little bit. Obviously the March is still up there. I'll shift it later. The little red car, the little Holden Barina, that has moved towards the back of the workshop to make room for something else that's moved towards the front of the workshop. Stuff and things. I mean, that's going to give you a big clue as to what we're doing. It's a 1.5 JZ, and it looks a lot like that one, and it's going into a BMW that looks a little bit like that one. That's even blue. We've got that stuff there. So, not sponsored by these guys or anything. This is all paid for by the customer, so looks to be pretty good kit. The customer goes through on the website and, you know, I like this bit here, tick, and I like this bit here, tick, and I like this bit here, tick, and then this turns up here, and then me being the installer goes, This bit here is not going to work. Cross, this bit here needs to be changed. Cross. But that's alright, it happens. We'll get it all figured out. We've got our Link G4 Plus Extreme ECU. We've fitted quite a few of those. We haven't done an X yet, a G4X. It's going to happen at some point in time. We'll get involved with one of those. We've got a box which I've never seen before and haven't read the instructions or even seen it on the website. And look, it's got double-sided tape, so you stick it on somewhere or screw it on somewhere, and it's got a plug. Beyond that, I have no idea. But that box is designed to work with that computer and that harness in, I was going to say that car, but I can't show you the car from here, so we won't be doing that. We've got our Link Can Lambda. These things are freaking awesome, man. So there's two of those in the back of the little March here. That is sponsored by Link. So two of these magic boxes in the back, sniffs the exhaust gases that are coming out of the back of that little monster and says, oh yeah, it's this much oxygen in there and that much oxygen in that bank. So we can figure out if there's any issues with the engine. Diagnostics and tuning and all that's really good, really handy. 3-bar map sensor. So this is absolute, right? So atmospheric pressure is approximately 1 bar, near enough to. So we can measure 2 bar of positive boost pressure, which is give or take 28 psi. We're probably not running as high as that, so that's fine for what he's doing. Excuse me, bumping the camera. In the folder here is some destructions, sort of. It's a pinout of everything that's going on, so I know where all those wires go on that harness, so I know where they go into this computer, so I can set it all up. The goal is, walk over here, you'll have to excuse the mess. This is going in that, explain shortly. The goal is that I'll get this running as best as I can do, just here without tuning it as such. It'll have like a base map, get it up and running, and then we'll go and get it tuned somewhere and suss out any problems that may pop up. There's a whole heap left to do. This vehicle's been in here once before and gone away and had the engine out and rebuilt, and it's come back, and it's, I mean, this was brand spanking new when I put it on there. She's been kicking around for a little bit in workshops and everything's starting to look a little bit dirty, dusty, so we'll get on with making it go, making it clean, get it tuned, and that'll be good. We put an intercooler in the front of it for him, modified the tanks to suit, but the plumbing system, put the oil cooler, snuck that in there for him, did all the brackets for the radiator and brackets for tanks and stuff to sit around the place without welding, cutting and welding on the actual chassis, stuff and things. Built that. I made that. It's got a little cover over the filter so the filter doesn't get grotty while it's sitting around in workshops. It's got a mount for his fuel pressure regulator on the back there. We're going to have to tee into that system somewhere, somehow, for a fuel pressure sensor. We need an oil pressure sensor way down there somewhere, I think it is. These lines both go that way, so there'll be something down there that we got to tap into. This needs to be powder coated. Doesn't look quite as nice as it did when it was brand new. After sitting around for a few months, it starts to lose its shine, so to speak. I'm going to plumb this bad boy up. Got to plumb this, wire this up. There's a windscreen washer reservoir hiding away here. It's just pretty much the only spot we can find. Right, so that's 350Z rear suspension. Bit of overkill for a little Holden Barina, perhaps. 200 horsepower in the back of it. This stuff's actually really quite light. I don't have to give that much of a nudge with my foot and it's moving around. The brakes are probably a bit large for it, but we can get 16-inch wheels over those, so that'll be alright with what we're doing. The control arm with a spring perch on it can be replaced with just an adjustable straight lightweight arm, although to be fair, those there don't weigh a lot at all as it is. Some things happened Obviously a little bit of cardboard there to protect our vulnerable spots hanging out the front there. Put some spaghetti in there. Now, spaghetti's going to need quite a bit of adjustment. It is a harness for this car with this engine. It appears to have a lot of excess wire. That's alright, I can deal with that. So I'll put my little box, BMW's little box, back in there next to the catch can. Put the ECU and plugged a few things in, ran around, plugged all the injectors in, coils, wires everywhere. That's fine, we can adjust, trim, repin, all that sort of carry on to suit. And then, yes, a lot of wiring to go back in. Get that on the big jobs. And on the other side, as you can see, we've got some Savage Performance and Spears gauges to go in there. I think we've got oil to, let's have a look. What have we got? This one? Oh, it says BMW. Exhaust gas temp. Oh yeah, that's quite a handy one to have. Boost and PSI. That should be pretty easy to wire that one up. Air fuel ratio. So we've got the link can lambda thing, so I think we probably can tag off that in parallel to get that gauge working. Boost will be a piece of cake. So in here, oh, it's a little bit dark, all our fuse boxes and everything are all undone and sitting lying around. Unfortunately they have to go the other side of, you're not even going to be able to see it. There's a bar in here my hands are on, you can see it now. Well, the harness has to be on the top of that, so I've got to take that whole big assembly back out or at least loosen it off and shift it out of the way, to put all this back where it needs to be, to make sure all the wires are in the right spots and the right lengths and all that sort of carry on. Now, I don't have any wiring diagrams for a BMW, and I've never dived into one as far as this depth goes, so this will be fun and games. I've got to look everything up, start from scratch, but that's all good. We can do that. Airbags are not going back in this car. They have been removed. It's older than 14 years. It doesn't have to go back in there if you don't want to, given it's got a different motor. Slam. Different motor, different radiator, intercooler in the front here, the frontal impact, well, and the manifold there, that comes out quite a long way, you see. So the frontal impact dynamics are considerably different to what it would have been. So airbags being removed, not a terrible idea. They won't perform exactly the same as what it did to start with anyway. So that'll do for now. I'm going to take some of these things off and get them powder coated probably. He wants that powder coated black to look nicer. We might as well perhaps do the compressor cover, the compressor housing same time, and a couple of the other little bits. Maybe that as well, eh? Right, cheers, bye.